Hey everyone, Crow Spaceboy here, and I wanted to make a very brief tutorial video about Ivy's 2A+G slash 2B+K mix-up. This is a mid-low mix-up that I think is going to give lots of players, especially players that are new to the series, a lot of trouble at mid-range. This is the core of her mid-range mix-up, and it's a really unique and new aspect of the character. I'd like to lead with an apology because during the beta, I made a report that this move I thought was steppable because I did step it during the beta, and that led me to believe that in the future, if we just learned to step it on reaction, the move would no longer be a problem, and that we could effectively deal with, at the time I thought the main mix-up was going to be 6A and the slow. And I was wrong. I'm okay with admitting when I'm wrong, and I'm definitely wrong about this. I don't think stepping is the realistic way to deal with this, and we'll break down why as we cover the mix-up. But let's talk about the two moves that are tied together to this before we do anything else, and that's going to be 2A+G, the low, and 2B+K, the mid. These moves, what makes them have such strong synergy and what makes them so powerful is that they have, on first glance, almost identical startups. I can understand anyone that looks at these two animations and throws their hands up in the air and say, why? How on earth am I ever going to actually block this? But I wondered the same thing. So I went into training mode, I examined the two core moves that are a part of this, the mid and the low. I also added in the fake, but the fake looks exactly the same as the mid, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just important to note that it exists. There is an animation difference, and a really important one. It's not going to 100% nullify it, but it's going to help you considerably when trying to get in. So I'm going to slow down these moves, show you the key difference between them. This is going to be the mid that I put right here. And here's the important one, the low. Notice the hand positioning of Ivy. So Ivy reels back her hand all the way behind her as she does this move. This is the animation that you need to look for. Stand guard just normally versus Ivy when you're at range. But once you see her reel back her hand like this is when you need to block a low. Since Ivy's low doesn't have any guard damage that it does, and it doesn't push out in any way, this is a valuable tool to help you move in safely, and this is a lot more beneficial than stepping, because if you step and she does 6A, well then you're going to lose a whole bunch of life and get put at a really uncomfortable range. It kinda sucks that this is the case, because when you look at the move, you would think, since it's just like a centralized location that the attack occurs in, you'd think you'd be able to step it, and technically on paper you can, but you can't do it reactively. You have to already be in motion. You can see the examples I'm using of stepping. I'm stepping not on reaction in any way, shape, or form, because you can't. That is not a thing that you can do. You don't move out of the way in time, and the hitbox is too big. You may have noticed two graphics on this move. There's like the big circle, and there's the smaller circle that's on the inside. That smaller circle is the actual hitbox, but it will catch your legs if you're moving to the side. It's big enough to do that, and that, I don't know if that's intentional. It seems a little redundant to me. If she has 6A, that why would she also have this move that catches step? You would think those two moves would be synergized in some way, but they are not. So it's not really, you really aren't thinking about like, oh, I should step the low and then not step versus the horizontal, because you're just going to get hit by both instead. And that's it. I hope this helped you in some way. If nothing else, I hope I've shown you that there is a way to practice against this and help nullify it. I think this is a rare case of one of those moves that is not as good as it may seem on the surface, but it's also one of those moves that's going to be viable even in tournament play, because you have to commit so much in the way of mental resources in order to just block it, that it never goes away. It's just not as real as some of your online counterparts may seem to think that it is. And that's it.